Okay, I just got a comment from someone, and it says, "How do you know where someone's really into you?" Okay, well, this channel is all about doing this off the top of my head. So they have what you called, I think it's indications of interest, IOI, which are indicators that someone is into you or interested in you. There's different phases and different times when this happens. In the initial stage, you would have someone, usually what I get is their eyes lit up the first time they see you. You encounter this person, and for some reason you're just the center of attention now. They're all you think about. If you're a male, the females usually play with their hair, or they get nervous or fidgety. You know what I mean? Um, they orbit around you. Say you're in a crowded place, and for some reason you're a male and you keep seeing this person. They stay at a eye distance. They want to make sure you're noticing them. They don't want you to think they're noticing. Yet they're noticing you, or they don't want you to think that they're that you want them to notice you. But they're gonna stay at an eye distance from you. If you're a male, man will pop up their shoulders a little bit more. Shoulder. You see the shoulders being lifted up. They'll walk with confidence. They'll swing their body back and forth. They tend to deepen up their vocal cords. They'll play that they'll try to be smooth when they're talking to you. Body language, they'll if you're sitting right in front of them, they'll point, their shoulders towards you, their feet are pointing towards you. Most of the time they're not gonna have their hands crossed. They're gonna have their hands open, like an invite. They're gonna give you all these social clues. Some of them are done automatically without them thinking. You know what I mean? Some of them are not. Most of them are done without thinking. Those are indications of interest. That's if you're in a setting when you're looking at each other from person to person. Now, if you're in social media or any type of app, then they'll visit your profile. They'll scroll down all the way down to the, if you're on Facebook, they're gonna scroll all the way down. They're gonna click on every picture, read every comment. Some people might say that's stalking, but they're just so into you that they want to know everything about you. You know what I mean? They'll even click your friends or your family, and they'll be interested in, your mom or father and stuff. And social media, they'll maybe put a picture that's for you. You know what I mean? That, like, if you ever said, I love the color red, or blah blah blah, red looks good on you, or whatever, then they'll wear red, and they'll make sure that that picture is seen by you. You know what I mean? They pretty much block everybody else around them, whether it's either whether you're face to face. Everybody else is just there. It's about you and them. So it's kind of tricky, because now people flirt. There's regular flirting where you might flirt with the cashier. Non-sexual flirting, just a little playful. Flirting can be like playful and fun. You know what I mean? Which is there's nothing wrong with being playful and fun. Now, if you're flirting, on the sexual side, then that'll be like a sexual flirting. So if they're really into you, they'll kind of cross the line between playful and kind of like a little sexy, playful, flirting. Whether it's online or text, they'll blow you a kiss. If they're not that into you, then it would just be like random, messages that don't really go in deep. You know what I mean? If they're into you, then they'll ask deep questions. You know what I mean? Like they want to know how you feel at a particular moment, or what you're doing at a particular time. Nothing like open-ended questions. Questions that lead to more questions. So they'll kind of like, if a person likes a car, for instance, they go shopping for a car and they see one car that they like, they're gonna put all their attentions on that one car, and they really don't care about the other cars. You know what I mean? They want to know everything about their car. They want to know the color. How many miles it has. Who was the previous owner. What year is it? They want to know everything about this car. They're gonna go online and search about the car, and same thing with the person. They're gonna go online and search about the person. They want to know everything about them. How many siblings they have. And in the social media way, then they're gonna go through your Facebook, your profile, Instagram or whatever you have. They just want to know everything they can about you. After the relationship progresses and you go on a date maybe once or twice, or you're on social media if you're a long distance relationship and you've been talking for a good 2-3 months, then they'll start talking about future meetings, whether it's like, hey, when you meet my mom, when you come over, if it's a long distance relationship, or they'll talk about maybe buying a house. They don't want to include you in their plans because they don't want to scare you off, but it might slip off, some, like, if we ever buy a house, or we should, they'll make plans with you in advance without you even knowing. Like, in their head, they're making plans of how, what dates you're gonna have, or what restaurants you might go and eat, or they'll just make future plans with you later on as relationship progresses. So it just means the interest is high. So interest for someone can lower and it can rise. That's normal. Sometimes the initial interest is really, really low, and it might go higher, or it might start really, really high and just crash, depending if you do something that they just don't like, or they find offensive, or whatever. So if the interest is really, 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 really high, and it just stays high throughout the night, sometimes, people might, be intimate with each other on the first day if the interest was really, really high. And it's a mutual thing. Especially if it's a mutual thing, if you find someone very, very interesting and they're into you, and the other person is very, very interesting and they're into you, then, boom, it's like an explosion almost, where you guys just feel like you're just flying, and, there's butterflies in your stomach, and, it just seems, it's a wonderful feeling when you got a mutual interest and high interest for two people. If it keeps going on for long, if the interest stays high on both people, then that can lead to love, sexual, being intimate also, advances the stages of being in love with someone, or loving someone, right? It advances the stages quickly. If you, decide not to be intimate till marriage, then it'll take a little bit longer, but the interest will still be there. You know what I mean? Really don't have a recommendation on how you should go about it. Should you, sleep with someone at the first day, or should you wait? I always say, go with your gut instinct. If you feel that this person is not going anywhere, and they genuinely and sincerely, have a mutual interest, and it just feels right, and you can be intimate with that person, just be careful and watch out for the red flags. If he seems kind of scamish, or she seems kind of scamish, guys got to watch out for girls being out for their money, you know what I mean, or their success, or their status. Some girls, if girls wear too many name brand clothing, or if they like going to the mall all the time, or if they're shopping, or if they're just into retail, buying things, and those are indicators that there might be, for lack of a better word, gold diggers, how they say, or just people that are interested in resources. Then they might give you a false indication of interest, IOI, If a female works as a waitress, and she's being really, really happy, flirting with you, or maybe crossing the line with a little bit of sexual flirtiness, and that might be a little bit confusing to some males because they don't know if she's really into him or if she's just trying to get good tips. You know what I mean? A lot of girls, they want attention. Guys do too, but you see it in females more where the more people that like them, the better. You know what I mean? So there's a lot more to watch out for if you're a male. Um, if you're a female, you got to watch out for guys just wanting you for pleasure. Um, you know what I mean? So females have to watch out for that if you're not that type of female where you do want a relationship and you don't want to, just exchange pleasure. You have to watch out for, the type of guy he is. I would go through his Facebook, and if he's liking girls' picture or posting pictures about models and, anything that had to do with sex or sex, then, that's an indication that he is, he's out there seeking pleasure. You know what I mean? Then I would be very, very wary about, his intentions for you. So you always gotta know people's intentions, and they're not gonna tell you what their intentions are. So you kind of have to like, you know, observe it and see the red flags for yourself. So there's gonna be a gut instinct, a feeling that you get when you're with someone that lets you know like, hey, this person's into me. Now, when you have a shared mutual interest and both of you, like I said, there's gonna be like an explosion. Like everything's just gonna feel right. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna feel like you're kind of floating or elevating. You know what I mean? It's gonna feel, you're gonna feel your endorphins, your serotonin's gonna kick in. You know what I mean? And you're just gonna be, you're gonna be in a good state of mind. When that happens. It doesn't happen often, and a lot of people wish it did, but anything worth having takes work. So when the moment does come, just don't lose it. Don't be afraid of it. Just go with the flow and see where it takes you. If you think if a guy displays some red flags and he just does what I mentioned before about liking people's pictures on Facebook or being sexual or flirting with other people, then he might be out there just to get pleasure. So I would count that as a red flag. And if he's just talking about sex throughout the date, you know what I mean, things of that. If he only wants to know about things about that has to do with bed issues or intimate issues, that would be another red flag. A person that's really into you, first of all, it's not gonna care how you look. It's not gonna care if who your dad is or who your mom is or whatever about your life. They're just gonna want to know, what pleasure can you give me? You know what I mean? So it depends on the type of person you are and what you're looking for. So usually the original question was, how do you know if someone's into me? So off the back, I'm thinking this person is looking for people that genuinely are interested in them for good reasons, for maybe a relationship or whatever. Now, if you just want to be intimate with different people, you're trying to find out if they're into you for monetary purposes or for pleasure purposes. And I'm not really that type of person, so I wouldn't know too much about that. You know what I mean? That's more like a player, game thing or whatever. But if you're saying you want to ask if someone's into you, then you're probably looking for a relationship or at least a companionship, friendship with someone. Also, they're gonna want to meet your parents. They're gonna want to meet your brother, your sisters. If you have kids, and they're gonna want to meet them. They're gonna want. They're gonna ask for their names and how old are they, and they're gonna ask for them throughout the day. And if they're doing good, if they're sick, they're gonna feel sympathy towards you. And people, when they're interested in you, they want to listen to you. They don't want to do all the talking. Some people just talk a lot. I talk a lot, so just you gotta kind of have to know what type of person they are and kind of read them, on a psychology level. And you'll find out. Usually just follow your gut instinct. Your gut instinct is not gonna lie to you. If your gut says, hey, this guy or this girl is really into me, I can feel it. I have this gut feeling, then pretty most of the time it's gonna be right. Now, if your gut feeling tells you, man, this girl's only out to get my money, or she just wants to use some monetary gains off me, or this guy just wants me for my body. He's just checking me out when I'm talking. He's checking out my boobs instead of looking at my face, or he's asking intimate questions instead of asking questions about my parents. You know what I mean? That's a good sign of knowing that that person is not really into you for relationship purposes. So they'll kind of make themselves available. Also pay attention to the way they talk. The way they talk means a lot. If a guy or a girl says, I was in a relationship and now I'm single, or now I'm looking for someone, or now I'm open to the possibility of meeting someone new, then that means they're making themselves, they're letting you know that they're available. You know what I mean? That's another indication of interest. Now, there's some jobs that's going to be harder for you to tell that, like I just mentioned before, like waiters, or jobs where you get tips, like if you're a salesperson or whatever. You kind of have to, it's going to be harder for you to have those IOIs, presently. Now, if you let a girl know, like, hey, I don't have any money right now, I'm broke, I'm going through a tough situation, and this girl is still interested in you, then she's not interested in the money, because then she'll, go off to the next person that has money and, seek attention from them. So, or, whatever, if it was the other way around and the girl is just not looking her best, and she's just like no makeup, and she's just like at the house, and she video chats you, or she's talking to you, at a restaurant, and she doesn't look her best, and the guy it doesn't really bother him at all. Like, he don't mention the fact that you don't have makeup on, or he mentions the fact that you're not dressed, properly, and he, if he doesn't mention those things, and he really just wants to be with you, he wants to spend time with you. You know what I mean? If you invite a girl out and you tell her, well, let's go to the park, let's just talk, and the girl says, nah, I don't want to go to the park, and if you tell her, well, let's go to this fancy restaurant, and she says, yeah, let's go to this fancy restaurant, that's a good indication that she's not really into you. So the question was, how do you tell someone's into you, not into your looks or into your money? So it's that's a good way of knowing if someone's really into you. If you invite them over and you're just watching a random TV show or something on Netflix, and they're okay with that, then that means they really like you. You know what I mean? They're really into you. So I gave a couple of reasons why someone would be into you. Now, how do you know if someone's not into you? Well, that means their interest level has dropped. Now, either their interest level was high in the beginning, and then for some reason it dropped. You got to find out why it did drop. Did it drop out because they found out you didn't have any money, or did they drop because you put on a little bit of weight, after a Thanksgiving feast, or party or whatever? You haven't been to the gym because you hurt your leg. You start putting on a little bit of weight for the females, and if the male kind of just stops texting the usual, and he doesn't text as much, he doesn't call as much, he doesn't invite you to go out as much, then he was just after your body. That's a good way of knowing that someone's into you for the wrong, not really into you. He's into what you can bring to the table, but not really into you. You know what I mean? So if a girl's really not into you at all, you or what you have to offer, then she, it's going to be very hard for her to, text you back. She's going to, she'll put like small little sentences on the, you're writing this big paragraph, she writes a little paragraph, you put another big paragraph, she writing this small, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to be like that. Now, if she was into you, then it'll be the other way around. She'll put a big paragraph and you'll put a small one, she'll put a big one. That means she's really into you. You know what I mean? Probably more into you than she is, than you are for her. A lot of the times, people start off at a, default setting of interest, meaning that I'm into you, but I don't know how much. It could be, high level, it could be a level, it could be just a regular, baseline interest. And if the other person is really, really into you, then that picks up the level of interest for you. You know what I mean? So people love out of reciprocity. meaning that if the other person is really, really in love with you, then, you can fall for that person as well, depending on where you're at a percentage interest, rate. Uh, you know, you can get close to 90, 99. That's a high level of interest. If you're at 1 or 2, that's a low level. 50, it can go either way. So if the interest level for both people are high, say in the high 90s, and it just stays at a high 90s for about 3 months, that's when love, starts to kick in, you know what I mean? The question wasn't how do you to tell if someone is in love with you or not, or loves you or not. It was how do you to tell if someone's into you. I would say into you would equal your interest level. So your interest level has to be around 70 to 90, you know what I mean, for someone to be into you. You know what I mean? That's how you'll tell if someone's into you. So, that's a good way to know. If you have any other questions or comments about this video, I can do another video on the same. There's a lot of good information on YouTube on that. Usually this channel, I just talk, I freestyle whatever I have to say. I do not look it up. I believe if I start looking things up, then I'm gonna think about things about that particular video or whatever I saw, you know what I mean? So I just wanna speak on things on the top of my head. Now, how to keep someone interested in you, that's another video I can cover. If you want me to, drop a comment down below. I can continue on how to know if someone's how to keep someone interested in you, you know what I mean? So I want to make this video short. I can go on for days talking, but I'm gonna let you guys go. And God bless everyone. Love you much. Thank you for all the comments, the likes, the subscribes. Tell your friends about this channel. Maybe we can make this channel grow, and you can spread the message. The whole point is to be positive. So thank you very much, and God bless.